Alright, so I just got into about 30 minutes recording this video and I basically just deleted all the footage because it wasn't living up to the reason why I wanted to create it in the first place, right? I wanted to make a video that was super authentic, that was true to what it is that I've experienced over these last 6 years running an agency, and I still find myself falling and sliding down that path that I didn't want to go down in the first place. So I just wanted to restart this video. I'm trying to leave it to as minimal cuts as possible and just talk. I have literally pages and pages and pages worth of notes, and what I'll do is I'll edit in right now like what those notes actually look like. And what you probably realize is I won't even be following those notes. I want to just talk from the titles of each section within the notes, if that makes sense. So the first section is why I'm creating this video in the first place. So for me, when I first started this journey, I wanted to make sure that I was leading with as much authenticity as possible. But what I didn't factor in was the fact that I would fall victim to many things that you guys probably fall victim to, which is the lifestyle, the desires, the hunger, and all these different things that these guys are portraying. Because as we know, lifestyle sells. That's why Ty Lopez dominated the marketing industry in 2017, 2018. He had the whole advertising industry on lock. We see guys like Imad Ghazi right now who's posting all these cars, and you're in a predicament whereby your current situation is not aligning with where you want to go. So what you do is you compensate a lifestyle that is not accurate to what it is that you're currently living or achieving. And I saw myself slowly slipping down this route, and I didn't want to go down any further. And it's funny because I was currently doing 21 days of prayer and fasting. I started on the 8th of January and I was meant to end at the time of recording this tomorrow. And one of the things God placed on my heart was, I cannot bless the person you pretend to be. I can only bless who you currently are. And then after that, he then convicted me to create a video that was as authentic as possible, that was literally giving you guys insight that I don't feel like anyone else in the market would be prepared to give. And it's insight that is basically going to run through my entire journey. But one thing I want to preface at this point, I don't think this video is as much as an importance for you guys to watch as it is for me, because when I record this video and I post this video, that for me is an action that says, God, I'm surrendering and I'm just going to obey. And if you guys don't know anything about how God works, is when he speaks, you want to listen. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't know how long or dead or dry the edits will be in this video. I'm just going to record, I'm just going to talk, and I'm just going to explain what it is God placed on my heart to explain, guys. So get some popcorn, enjoy the journey, and I'll see you guys on the other side. So the first topic of conversation, as I can see from my title, is where did this journey start? So for me, this journey started around 2017, 2018. Well, 2017 going into 2018. I was watching a YouTuber called Godnat, and if you guys don't know who that is, I'll put a picture right here. And essentially this guy was doing some ridiculous shopping sprees, right? He was killing it over here in the UK when it came to content creation. And one of the videos he did, he said, check the link in my bio for my 3 sources of income. And at that time, I was like, okay, cool. How can I live this lifestyle that this guy is portraying? And I went to his link. And as you guys can expect, I found social media marketing. And at that point, I was just finishing college, going into university. So I had about a 3-month gap, which is what we call summer over here. So those 3 months was literally spent in a rabbit hole, finding everything and anything I could about social media marketing. I didn't care if it was running Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, how to do Google ads, how to write copy, email marketing. I learned everything that you could in the space of 3 months. I was literally doing like 10-hour days at the age of like 17, 18, just so I can make sure that I was putting myself in the best position to see success when it came to running an agency. But there's one thing to preface, guys. At this point in my sort of journey or my age, I didn't really have a relationship with God. So for me, I was wanting to get into social media marketing for selfish reasons. I wanted the lifestyle, I wanted the money, I wanted the freedom to do all these different things. And that's what I was chasing. It wasn't a purpose at this point. It was a desire, essentially, a selfish desire. But nonetheless, after the 3 months, it was time to to jump into uni. And I think I underestimated how hard it would be to balance university and running a business. So for about halfway through the academic year, I actually started to take social media marketing seriously. I was recording the videos, I was doing the Loom outreach. And if you guys think I actually mean Loom, I was doing Loom outreach before Loom was a thing. And I'll show you guys what my camera roll used to look like, because I was never on camera before starting a business. So it was putting me out of my comfort zone. So I had to do all these different outreach videos, and I just literally kept messing up. It was like a 15-second video that would take me like 4 hours to record. And you guys probably think I'm exaggerating, but I'll show you that camera roll right now. And if you guys had access to my phone, you would literally be able to scroll for like 20 minutes and just see the amount of takes that I had to keep on doing because I kept messing up. But essentially, that was my life for the lather of that 6 months left of that first year of uni. It was hustling. It was learning everything I could. It was actually implementing what I had learned for those 3 months and putting it into practice. But long story short, guys, I tried every outreach strategy underneath the sun. You name it, I did it in those 6 months. And it was funny because about 2 weeks before the end of the year, I went to church, and at that time I was praying to God. I was deciding whether I should take a gap year and focus on the business, or if I should just go into the second year of uni just straight back to back. And I went there at the last church service before the year ended, and I didn't really have any expectations. I went there, sat at the back as I usually do, and everyone's at the front praying and praising, all that sort of good stuff. You got the choir right at the front, preacher right at the front, and I was just there at the back just vibing. And I remember it got towards the end of the service, and the pastor said, just close your eyes and pray. So I'm like, cool. Closed my eyes, started praying, blah, 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 blah. Then I felt someone come and hold my hand. So I looked up, I'm thinking, you gotta remember, guys, I'm not like a small guy. Like I'm alert all the time. So when I'm closing my eyes and I feel someone grab my hand, I'm a bit like, what's that? And I noticed who it was. It was someone that was in the choir right at the front, and they had walked all the way from the front and all the way towards the back to tell me something. And I want to create a different video basically speaking about what that that revelation, that word that God gave me at that moment was. But long story short, I decided to take that gap year and jump into the business game full time. So in the next section, that's what we'll basically dive into. I just wanted to give you guys some context on how I got in the first place. So it's a YouTube video, link in the description. Studying for 3 months, wasted half of my first year in uni just enjoying uni. The last 6 months, tried every outreach method underneath the sun, created Loom before Loom was a thing, then went to church in the last 2 weeks, decided to take a gap year, and now you guys are all caught up to date. So we fast forward some time. So I'm in my gap year right now, and guys, I'm telling you, I was doing 10-hour days. I was putting in the work for that entire year. I want you guys to understand something. So for half of the first year, I was relentlessly doing outreach. So that's 6 months. Then I take another gap year, guys. So it's the gap year. So that's a whole year of doing outreach for 10 hours a day. And I mean, I was sending thousands of emails, thousands of DMs, thousands of cold calls, thousands of, maybe not thousands of Loom videos, let me not exaggerate, hundreds of Loom videos, but I did everything that I possibly could, and it was all manual. That was the worst thing. It was all manual, because at that time I'm a university student, I'm broke. I didn't have the leverage to go and afford a VA or outsource or anything like that. I literally had to hustle. And you guys are probably saying, well, Shemar, why don't you go and get a job? You guys need to understand, in my head, I didn't think it would take this long to sign a client, but we fast forward some time, we get towards the end of the gap year, and I'm like, wow, I just took a gap year from uni and I've got nothing to show for it except the thousands of outreach that I did. But as God always does, bro, I was literally days away from giving up. I was like, you know what, this SMMA thing isn't for me. It's not what I thought. 2 weeks before I went back to university, I signed a client. And I want to show you guys the message that this client said to me, because I sent them a DM on Instagram, and then they said that God told them to respond almost. And I'll show you what that DM looks like now. And what really touched me with this DM was, for me, it was the confirmation that I needed not to give up. You know, I'm nearly 2 years into this journey now, and I've only signed one client, but it took me 1.5 years to sign my first client. 1.5 years to sign my first client. You guys aren't listening to me. And it was at a time where I was prepared to give up, because I was thinking, man, God, how can you tell me to take this gap year to focus on this business? I go a whole year and I don't sign anyone, and then bam, Just as I was prepared to hang my boots up and call it a day, a client comes. That was the confirmation that I needed to continue because there was more for me within this space. So now you guys understand how my gap year went. You understand how my first year went, 6 months of work. Then you understand how my gap year went, a year of relentless outreach. And in the final 2 weeks when I was about to give up, a client comes. So I'm telling you guys now, had I not signed that client 2 weeks prior to going back to university, I would have gone back to university just partying, drinking, enjoying time, enjoying my life and not running a business. I was prepared to say, you know what, I did everything in my power to make this business successful and it just simply didn't work out. And I would have been okay with that. But God had a different plan. And you guys probably at this point are thinking, yeah, so this is where it starts increasing. Well, no. We fast forward 2 weeks, I'm back at university. We fast forward 2 years and I still haven't signed another client. I am now 4 years deep into my journey. First year, a gap year, second year, third year, and I still have not signed another client. So how is it that God puts a client in my vicinity, I sign them, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, cool. So this was just confirmation for me to go above and beyond to sign more. No, I didn't sign another client for 4 years. I need you guys to understand, at the point of me making this video, I'm 6 years into my journey. I didn't sign a client. I signed one client in 4 years. I don't know if anyone needs Braille. I don't know if anyone needs sign language. I don't know if anyone needs Latin. I signed one client in 4 years. But I simply refused to give up. I couldn't give up. If you guys heard the word that God gave me in that service that time, that lady from the choir who walked from the front, held my hand and what she said to me, and one day I will tell you guys one day, but it gave me a relentless pursuit for purpose. You probably heard me say that saying so many times, but there's a reason why. And me being hot, open, and transparent, that's what I want to lead with. I want to lead with this story of where or what it took to get to my position today. What it took to get here today. You know, I hear people complain all the time like, oh, I've been doing outreach for a couple of weeks, for a month. I'm like, bro, get some skin in the game, man. Get some skin in the game. And it's funny because on paper, most people would have probably called my journey a failure, right? One client in 4 years. But at the time, I probably thought the same. But what I realized after finishing university, being 4 years deep, was I had sent thousands of emails, thousands of DMs, thousands of Loom videos, thousands of cold calls, thousands of any type of follow-up outreach you guys can think of. I did it. I learned the art of copywriting. You know, I know how to write copy that is going to generate a response. If you guys saw the amount of DMs that I send to response ratio, it's crazy. I get a 25% response percentage on my messages that I send today. It was in those failures that I learned that. I learned the art of tracking and analyzing data. And now I can predict what inputs generate what outputs. And that only came about because I was manually tracking data for the last year and a half when it came to my outreach. You know, once again, that skill was learned in my failures. I learned the skill of being able to talk confidently in front of camera, which so many people struggle with. But I learned that because I sent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Loom videos that weren't successful. So I need you guys to understand is there's beauty in the pain. There's beauty in the journey. Everything that I'm doing today is a prerequisite of everything I did a year and a half ago in the start of my journey, the last 4 years of my journey. So when people say, oh, Shemar, pave your journeys, it's not a failure because I'm living proof that everything I did back then was applicable today. My tracking, I now do that. The data, the copywriting, I now can write scripts. My recording, my personal brand is built on those Loom videos, guys. But essentially the list goes on. I had an arsenal of skills at this point. And when I had finished university 4 years deep in my journey, I started to realize that. And the truth of the matter is, guys, too many people are focused on the disappointment, on the pain, on the letdown of their journey, that they don't do things full-heartedly and take things from that point in their life. You know, if I had started complaining about the fact that I've sent X amount of messages and got no response, if I started getting disappointed on the amount of Loom videos I was recording that weren't being open, if I started doing things half-heartedly, that wouldn't build my database of knowledge, my understanding, my authority that's given me today. And it was based on those decisions to do things with commitment to them, because I understood the value and the dividends it would pay at a later date. So I say all of that to say, if there's one thing I can tell you guys, is don't let disappointment deter your destiny. Do not let disappointment deter your destiny. I see so many people get a call from God, or they feel inspired to do something, and just because the journey didn't go the way you expected it to, you stop committing to that journey. You stop committing to that dream. You let disappointment deter you from that dream. You let disappointment deter you from that destiny. So if there's one thing that you guys take away from this video, is embrace it, because there's beauty in the disappointment. There is beauty in it. Learn the art of working while you wait. God may even be asking you, how do you handle the disappointment? If disappointment is presented to you, what is your reaction to disappointment? How do you handle the wait? How are you handling what you've currently been given? How are you stewarding over the things He's given you while you wait? The only reason I knew I had to stay committed to this journey was because I gave everything that I could, and it still wasn't enough. And you guys are probably thinking, well, Shemar, isn't that a reason to quit if you've done everything you can and it still wasn't enough? No. For me, it was the understanding that I've done everything I could and it wasn't enough. So who does that leave? It leaves God to do the rest. I understood what He was calling me to could not be done from my strength alone. I was hustling, I was putting in the work, I was relentless in everything that I did, and it wasn't enough, and that's okay. Because His strength is made perfect in my weakness. I knew I was called to something great. It's funny because it almost excited me. Why? Because I had the understanding that, okay, cool. If I couldn't do this destiny, this dream on my own, and it required God's force and His strength to be applied in my life, how big do you think this goes? This is beyond me. I feel like this video, more than anything, is, like I said, a checkpoint. A checkpoint for you guys to see the grace of God, man. When an opportunity to be obedient is presented and you guys follow it, what happens after this video, I don't know. But I believe it's going to be something crazy. I believe that the hand of God is about to do a mighty work in my life. And it's going to be funny because I'm going to point people back to this video and I'm going to say, yeah, it was in this season where He told me to be hot, open and transparent. Tell everyone what the last 6 years have looked like and let Him do the rest. I've done all I can. For the first 4 years of my journey, it was me hustling and putting in the work and my strategies, my techniques, my advice, all these different things, and it wasn't enough. I did all of that for 4 years and signed one client. So let's see what one act of obedience can do after this. So now when I tell people the story, is like, okay, cool. So for the first 4 years of running a business, it was all me and I had no real success. But then we go into the next 1.5 years, what that looked like with God in my life, it was a completely different experience. 4 years by myself, one client, and then the next 1.5 years, which we're just about to talk about now, it was a complete 360. And let's dive into it, guys. So this is the exciting part, right? What did the last 1.5 years look like for me and my agency? And I'll tell you guys. So I graduated university in July 2022. So that marked the 4th year in business. And I had a real conversation with myself and I wanted to sort of decide what it is that I wanted to do within the industry. And it came down to the purpose of wanting to help people. I wanted to take people from where they currently were to where they desired to be. And that birthed Agency Blitz. And it's probably a funny, contradictory sort of thing to imagine. How is it a guy that signed one client in 4 years able to help people take them from where they currently are to where they desire to be if I didn't do that myself? And it's a true argument, guys. But then I realized, and this is one mindset that many people don't possess, it's the ability to help people didn't originate from my successes. It originated from my failures, if you will. The reason I knew I'd be a successful mentor wasn't the fact that I succeeded. It's because I knew what not to do, because I did it. I knew the mistakes not to make. I knew the scripts that wouldn't convert. I knew how to overcome limiting beliefs. I knew what clients didn't want to hear on sales calls. I knew what inefficiencies prevented smooth operations. I knew what caused analysis paralysis and how to overcome it. So what I'm telling you guys is my ability to serve my students and my mentees didn't come from any success or that one client that I signed in 4 years. It came from my failures and putting in the work relentlessly. I was a good steward over what God gave me, and that enabled me to take lessons, take knowledge, take strategies from that season and apply it to another season. If you guys did it, listen, what I want to paint this picture to you guys is very, very clear. And I want you guys to really understand. If I didn't steward over those seasons properly, I would not have had anything to create that next season. If I didn't show up day in, day out, putting in the work, believing that God was going to do something mighty and magical in my life, I would not have had that knowledge, that base, that foundation to then become a mentor. It goes hand in hand, guys. When God presents an opportunity, do not let disappointment deter you from the destiny, man. And I'm going to prove it to you. So for July 2022 to December 2022, I wanted to put that to the test. I wanted to see if I had the ability to help change people's lives, essentially. So I was a mentor for free for 6 months. And bearing in mind, this will mark the period of my life where I really just started focusing on God and letting him do his work through me. So this will mark 6 months of me giving free value from July 2022 to December 2022. I essentially just wanted to earn my stripes and see if there was purpose in the pain. I wanted to not put God to the test, but see if there was something that he was teaching me in those 4 years. And lo and behold, there was. And I'll show you guys what that looks like literally right now.
Yes, so this is a quick testimony for Shemar. Shemar has been great in my journey this far. I've learned a lot from him. He's taught me so much. I've asked him questions. He can answer them very good, and he shows his expertise in this area. This is someone who's been in my shoes before. He's done that. So basically, I can look up to him and just follow his footsteps. If you're looking for a mentor, he's the one, and I really recommend him to everyone who's looking for a mentor and who's new in this journey as well. Even if you have experience, because I've been in this game now for 1 year and stuff like that, and he's been teaching me new stuff to implement in my agency as well. So it's been very helpful.
When I finally met Shemar, everything changed. I was more confident. I was able to act on what I was learning. And I just took it one day at a time, and he gave me tasks that I could go through and follow and build my agency. The process of working with Shemar was very easy and straightforward. He always kept it in my head of why I was doing what I was doing and what would happen if I didn't do what I was doing. He's a strong believer that, his success is our success. So if we don't succeed, he doesn't.
So I want to get on here and give my props to Shemar Ellis. Okay, so this guy, he's helped me with the agency, build it up, scale it to 10K plus per month right now. And it's like been it's like a shocking journey, to be honest. Like, I remember going to Shemar when I had my agency. I saw one of his Facebook posts. I remember coming to him. I didn't know what niche to pick, what offer, what I was going to offer them to the clients. I didn't know any of that. I was literally in the mixture of picking either roofing or if I was going to pick pressure washing. I came to Shemar. We had a call, and he broke it down. He was like, which one is easier to get results? Which one profit margins are better? And we just talked about it, and I was able to pick, okay, I'm going to go with roofing. Then he helped me come up with the offer, what worked best for me. And from all that information that I got with Shemar, I end up implementing it. And this was probably like February. And since February, and now it's May.
Hi guys, I just want to say my quick story on how I started my agency with the help of Shemar. So one of the first things is I never knew what niche to go into, and that was my biggest issue, let alone the fear of not even signing a client. And me and Shemar, we looked at together what my great strengths were, and he was able to help me and find out where I was supposed to be. And video editing was one of my strong key points, and he just proposed to me the idea that why don't I go into social media agency with video editing. And I took that across, and long story short, today I've got a social media agency with content repurposing, and I've already signed my first client within the first 3 months within the help of Shemar. He's such a great mentor.
Hi, my name is Jay, and I've been working with Shemar for around 2 months now. And when I started working with him, I'd actually been working on my agency for around 4 months or so, and I hadn't seen many results. I mean, I'd booked a few meetings here and there. I'd gotten some responses, but I felt like I wasn't really going anywhere. My outreach systems weren't really that good or anything. But when I reached out to him, I pretty much laid out everything, like this is what my scripts are, this is what I'm gonna be doing for outreach, and then he was just like, no, 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 no. And then he pretty much went and rewrote my entire outreach system. He tweaked all of my scripts, and then he taught me how to actually present myself with confidence when I'm reaching out to these business owners so that I'd be more trustworthy. And then after implementing this, after sending literally 13 messages out, I was able to book 4 meetings in the space of 12 hours.
So I guess the question is, how does one guy that signed one client in 4 years deliver such unimaginable, unattainable success for his clients? And it's only by the grace of God. You know, if I had done this 4 years ago, I would have said it was me. But remember what I said in this video, guys. I did everything I could and it still wasn't enough. So anything I was going to do after that point, it would have been the grace of God. So now when people ask, oh, how are you able to? It's only by God's hand on my life. It's nothing to do with me. I did it all and I signed one client in 4 years. So clearly, clearly whatever I'm doing is wrong and whatever he's doing is right. How is it that a person that signed one client in 4 years was able to deliver that many times? Once or twice, I'd understand. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Come on now, guys. It's only by the grace of God. So what I'm trying to say is what I saw as my failures, God saw as preparation. That was literally the proof that I needed, that those 4 years that I saw as failures, God was preparing me for the next season. The funniest thing is, when I was doing those 6 months of free value, I was working a full-time 9 to 5 as well. I was working a full-time job, guys. Sometimes even 48 hours a week, 13 days on with 2 days off. So when people say that they can't run a business and do X, Y, and Z, I can't take them seriously. I went from 4 years of university while running a business to then finishing university, getting into a job and still running a business. Like, how can you not balance both? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So every single one of those testimonials, those wins, those case studies that you guys just saw was in the midst of me giving value away for free while working a full-time 9 to 5 and building a mentorship business. Like, the odds were stacked against me, and yet, by the grace of God, I was still able to overcome and produce results like that time and time again. So at this point, we fast forward at the end of those 6 months, it's now January 2023. So we've gone from July 2022 to December 2022 giving free value. The month after would launch Agency Blitz. I continued to help people, but now I wouldn't do it for free. I would aim to get paid for it. And I'll be honest, guys, since we're being open and transparent this entire video, I only signed 3 paying students within that time frame. I think that's 7 months: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So in the space of 8 months, I only signed 3 paying students. So despite all those wins that you've just seen, only 3 of those guys were actually paying me for me to actually be a mentor for them. August actually marked the month that I quit my job as well, my 9 to 5. And yeah, if you guys didn't already catch up, I was running a mentorship business and still working the 9 to 5 all the way up until August. And to give you guys a bit of insight on what that actually looked like, I'm gonna insert some videos, some pictures, and just give you guys a little taste of what I was doing on a daily basis, essentially. But I'll be honest, guys, that job taught me absolutely everything I needed to know, right? It showed me I was capable of staying dedicated to the journey despite distractions. It showed me I was capable of doing more than I ever thought I could. Who else is working 48-hour weeks and still going home to put the work into to build a real business? It showed me I had the capabilities and the grit to put the work in to see success within an industry that I never saw success before, despite working a 9 to 5. And as a little side note, guys, it birthed Freddie. If you guys don't know who Freddie is, that's my first car. It was something that I've been praying for, and that job gave me the opportunity to go and buy that car, which I'll put a little photo in right now. And yeah, so we give God thanks for that as well. So that was basically some insight from January to August on Agency Blitz version 1, my mentorship done for you program, and what I was able to achieve in that time frame. So the last time frame is August 2023 up until present time. And the funny thing is, this is the first period since running a business in nearly 6 years that I've not had another sort of commitment, whether that's university or working a job. This period that I'm in right now is the first time I've fully been able to really lock in and focus on building a business, except the gap year, obviously, but you guys already know how that went. But anyway, let's jump into August 2023 to today. So I guess the question is, what's the next chapter for me? If you guys speak to me on an individual basis, you would have heard me essentially scream about selling infrastructures, not services. And that ideology came from the top performers in this industry, you know, the Serge Guitaris, the Nick Cosmans. These guys shifted my entire perspective to the point that in August, I had to shut my Agency Blitz mentorship done for you service version 1 down for like 8 weeks, because I wanted to recreate something that was pushing this notion on selling infrastructures instead of services, because services is a commoditized thing. So many people can literally wake up today and decide they want to start an agency and sell leads and booked appointments if they find a media buyer, so you're easily replaceable. Whereas if you have an infrastructure, a system that solves specific problems that you can place within a business, you are now a sought after value-based individual, essentially. So that was sort of the angle that I wanted to take when I re-entered the market after those 8 weeks. So yeah, I shut down Agency Blitz V1, and I wanted to create something that would really last the test of time. So I created Agency Blitz V2. Nah, but in all seriousness, guys, what we created in this Blitz team is something that should be desired if you're a local lead gen agency owner. It solves all the problems that you would ever face when it comes to selling infrastructures. And if you aren't currently up to date in terms of what the infrastructure model is, go to the link in the description after this video. I'm going to have 2 or 3 sort of videos that you guys can go and watch that will just give you the rundown, the insight. I also have a free training if you guys want that as well. And it will just break down this ideology that you guys need to get to grips with. And I don't want to make this video about that, so I'm just going to breezily just pass over this section, and then yeah, check it out if you guys want to. But essentially, guys, my plan is to provide the mechanisms to local lead gen agency owners that they can basically piece together and leverage from me to then go create an infrastructure that they can sell for 5, 10, 15K up front to their target audience, to essentially be a middleman to these agency owners that they can literally plug and play with what it is that they can get from me, whether that's a trained VA, whether that's a closer, whether that's a media buyer, whether that's a go high level snapshot, and then they package it into their infrastructure, resell it for 5, 10, 15K up front, plus a percentage on the back end. So for example, instead of finding a VA and trying to train them up to contact the leads once they're generated and paying X amount of dollars, you leverage it from me. Instead of creating go high level snapshots that you'll need, you leverage it from me. Instead of trying to find a media buyer that has a reputable history that has generated millions in sales or whatever the case may be, you leverage it from me. So essentially, anything that you guys need for your infrastructure, I will help you source it so that you guys can repackage it, resell it, and then make thousands and thousands of dollars, essentially printing money. We're essentially taking agency owners from being a part of the 99%, you know, charging 1.5K retainers, to becoming a part of the 1% that's charging 10x more upfront plus a percentage on the back end. So we welcome those guys that are prepared to take it to the next level, because look, everyone has the goal of signing or making 10K a month, should I say, but we're trying to do that a week with these guys. We come on and essentially partner up with these agencies, and it's not partner up in the sense that we take 50-50 split. It's partner up in the sense that we give you the resources to then go and deliver for your clients, so you guys don't have to do the hard work. We do the heavy lifting so you guys don't have to. And that's the vision that I've been working on since around October time, when I rebranded and created Agency Blitz V2. It's taking these guys that are selling a commoditized service, give them a new mindset shift, a paradigm shift that I experienced myself studying from these guys, and then implementing it essentially. It's so much easier to sell a 10K package than it is to sell a monthly retainer. And I'm going to end this section with this understanding, right? These business owners are realizing very, very quickly that they're paying 1.5, 2K a month to solve one problem, which is leads and booked appointments. They're seeing that monthly costs go out, but what they're realizing is they still have a problem with the closing rate. They still have a problem with the no-show rate. They still have a problem with the appointment setting rate. They still have a problem with the data reactivation rate. All these different problems are still on the back end, hence why you need an infrastructure to solve all those problems. It does not make sense anymore to charge 2K a month as a retainer. You guys have probably experienced how hard it is now, more than ever, to sign a client for literally free trials, 1K, $500, whatever it may be. And that's simply because they want all their problems solved, not just one. But anyways, guys, I digress. The final part of this video, this time frame, if you will, I've basically taken you guys on a journey, but I guess the best way to sort of end it is what's next. And not only what's next, but what's my promise to you guys for what's next. So I want to promise to you guys to uphold nothing but authenticity and transparency regarding anything that I do. You guys can expect from me the truth and nothing shy of it. I don't care what the trends are. I don't care what people are pushing, the notions. If you guys come to me, just expect that it's not going to be a biased point of view. It will be the truthful point of view. Put simply, I will be me. From the videos that I post on YouTube to the pictures I post on Instagram, it will be authentic, it will be transparent, and not the repurposed sort of content that my predecessors have put out, but things that have been tried and battle tested by me. I want to give you guys a POV from that kid, you know, at the start of this journey that was hustling for 4 years, that learned stuff. That is the perspective I want to take. I don't want to take things from my peers in this industry and repurpose it and repackage it and give it back to you guys, but instead I want to give you real actionable things that I've put into practice myself that I know can benefit you guys. That's what you guys can expect. Expect those monthly breakdowns, expect those weekly breakdowns where I run through the KPIs, my outreach numbers, the follow-ups, the response rate, the meetings rate, the revenues, everything that you guys can expect. I'm just going to be leaving no stone unturned this year. I want to lead with full transparency. We saw what I could achieve in 4 years and what God can do in 1.5. So let him lead this year, guys. He's spoken and I'm obeying. Anything after this point is going to be the grace of God. So don't thank me, thank him. Welcome to my pursuit of purpose.